What's up, gamers? Welcome to another episode of Get Your Game Sense Up. My name is Bios, your annoyed average gamer.
And I'm Sebastian Nation. And after this game footage, please somebody just give me an Avatar game. Like, come on, just give it to me.
And today we're going to be talking about the upcoming looter shooter game called Outriders.
It's also a cover-based game, so don't forget it's a looter shooter cover-based, third-person RPG, everything you want to be best game ever in the world, allegedly. You know, all of that stuff.
Yeah. So Outriders is being developed by People Can Fly and being published by Square Enix. It is a 1-3 player drop-in, drop-out co-op shooter set in an original, dark, and desperate sci-fi universe. People Can Fly also worked on Gears of War Judgment, some game called Bulletstorm, and they are really reputable when it comes to their gunplay. Now, we're going to be talking about on the announcement of Outriders, the way that it was set up, and since it's really going to be on my opinions, so try to keep up, Sebastian.
Okay.
So the Outriders was announced on a live stream, a pre-recorded live stream, in my opinion, but they had a sit down with the two main developers, and they're being interviewed by some guy, and they went through what the game is, what its story, what we're going to be expecting, and they showed a lot of cutscenes, and finally they also showed gameplay. And then right after the stream was over, there was already gameplay out and ready, available for people to see. Now, in my opinion, this has been that was one of the best announcements, releases, whatever you want to call it, of an upcoming game that I have ever seen, because it got straight to the point mostly, and we also got tangible footage and opinions instead of just having a game be announced and then you have a demo come out 2 weeks, or a demo or beta, whatever, test come out 2 weeks before the game is released, so you barely get to get back any footage, any feedback and stuff like that. So this, because the game is still like 10 months away before release,
I mean, the
way
beta
that they've
could
done
still
it
come
now,
out like a week before the game, just to make that clear.
yes, the beta will still come out, but what I'm talking about is that people that are out there, like actual influencers that are out there, that are able to get their hands on the game and give proper feedback way before the game comes out, like you don't have like a few weeks or less than a month, they still have that time to make those improvements.
Yeah, I agree.
And plus we also get to see like what the game is and stuff like that. So from what we've seen, the game looks really, really beta or alpha. There's a lot of elements in there that just looks unfinished. So we're gonna talk a little bit more of that footage that we've seen. So what we have here is that we have three characters. We have a character that has lightning abilities, another character that controls earth, and another character that has fire, or class that has fire, and a mystery fourth class that we will see later. My opinion is it's going to be ice, because we did see ice abilities in in one of their trailers. And it's set in this world where these people abandon Earth and they go to find a new planet, because Earth is all riddled and destroyed from war and the environment caving in on itself. So they find a planet called Enoch. They go there, everything is looking nice and dandy, until they find something called the Anomaly. And the Anomaly ripped everything apart. It made all of the technology that they brought useless, and it changed certain people. The people were thrown back into cryosleep, and when they came out, they were altered. That's what they're called. People with abilities and such like that. Then the new world is also being destroyed again by war. There's a what do you call it? A class warfare going on, and another war happening with the people that are altered. So that's basically what the premise of the game is. And also, the game is not going to be live service. There will be no microtransactions or anything like that. It's just going to be a game that you buy and you play, and when you
They
reach
said
the
no
end, it's the end.
microtransactions. I didn't hear anything about that.
They said no microtransactions. It's just going to be a game that you purchase once, you play, and then when the story is over, the game is over. Now, as far as the amount of hours, people are estimating that the story will be between 20 and 40, and the gameplay, depending on what they have developed for Endgame, could be leading up to replayability up to 100 hours.
So there's a lot you just said. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
break apart some of it. I might jump around. I'm gonna start with the ending there. So it's not a live service game, which is not a bad thing. So it's just gonna be, a game you buy, like, it could be single player with your friends. But live service games are really big on endgame. And from the few creators that I did see discuss this game, they were trying to see like what is there to do when you beat the game. Is there going to be raids? Because most PvE games, big games on the scale, have raids on the scale or such. Or like something on the same side of the strike or stronghold that Destiny or Anthem or Division has. I don't know too much about Borderlands 3. I feel like this is very similar to Borderlands 3, but I don't know if
Very
Borderlands.
similar.
This is a genuine question. Does Borderlands have strikes per se? Like, I know there is replayability of Borderlands after you beat it, but like I don't know what the replayability is because I haven't played too much of Borderlands.
I can't exactly tell you because I haven't played the game in a while, but from what I remember from a friend of mine who does play a lot, they do release these updates that come with events and new areas and new bosses to fight. So for example, there was this new, I don't know if it was an expansion or if it was a free update, but it's basically something called Jack Hijack or Jack Casino, where you go to this casino area. It's like a mission from one of the characters in the ship hub. She gives you the mission, and you go to this casino planet to where you have to like defeat or shut down this casino thing. You fight the old Jack characters on bosses, stuff like that. So it's content that they added in, and you're able to go in there by yourself or with friends, take it out, yada yada.
I don't know. I'm just really interested to seeing these types of games that are not like live service per se, what the replayability is. That's my biggest thing. Because like, in a game like Destiny, like sure it's a live service game, but like, what about it makes a live service? That there's events like holidays events like that they keep updating the game.
No, there won't be holiday events because it's not a game that's going to be there
But
for
Borderlands
the
had a
entire
holiday
year.
event. They had a Halloween one. They had a holiday event for sure. And that's not a live service game. So now that's really making me think what classifies me as a live service game. That they release content over a period of time, but just releasing DLC does not make you a live service game. Like single player games have DLC, that's not a live service game. So like it's just because that there's no PvP, like I feel like this game is very similar to Division, but the only thing is that the Division has PvP in the Dark Zone, but if you took out the Dark Zone, it's a drop in, drop out co-op experience,
The people really related to also Diablo, where Diablo had a lot of endgame content and it wasn't like a live service game, and there were no events in that game. It's just something that you played, and then at the end you're supposed to spec out your character, do these dungeons, do these bosses, do these things that they just released. So I guess it is on the more teetering end of where they just release expansions or new updates for you to just jump in and do. That is a good question. I don't know. But it doesn't fall under it because it's not live. Because once you beat it, you beat it.
Exactly.
There's no.
Because like people were asking about Endgame. They're like, what do we do once we beat the game? Granted, I can't compare it to Borderlands because I didn't play it. So like, in Destiny, once you beat the game, there's PvP, there's strikes you can do on over, and then of course there's the raids, and of course there's the DLC in 3 months. Whereas in this game, like, do you just replay the story, or what? Is there going to be new? Or like, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm expecting for this type of game.
Missions will be replayable. Some bosses will be replayable. I guess we just have to wait and see what they tell us. What their end game content is. People are saying a lot of comparisons to Diablo. I haven't played Diablo. I'm not too familiar with it, but we'll just have to see when they're ready to announce it.
Another thing that really this game reminded me of was the new Avengers game. The Avengers has a lot of similar stuff where it has drop-in. You can do stuff solo or you can do them with your friends. But the only thing that makes Avengers live service is that they're going to be adding new characters. as the game goes on in new like missions and new locations. You know, and I'm assuming of course it's microtransactions. But now it's like Square Enix is making 2 games of the same type between Outriders and Avengers. It's like, what's your company doing, Square Enix? But also, I'm interested. I don't know. Let's go back to the actual game. We're going like behind the scenes of the
Yeah.
Back to the actual game. When it comes to the 3 classes, I think it's pretty interesting. I agree with you. The next class will either be ice or some sort of water. I don't know why they're hiding the 4th class. It's like, hey guys, we have 3 classes, but what's even better? 4 classes. Like, just show it off. Like, what? Nothing changes.
And from what I've seen, when they hide a class, it usually just means that the class is not ready to show.
Okay, probably because they're like, we're just not ready to talk about it. It's like, what? I mean, you could.
And we've literally only seen one ability of the ice just freezing people.
That was an enemy player. That was
then
the boss, so we don't even know. Yeah.
No, not the boss. And it was the actual like player.
Oh, really? Really? I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was a player that froze enemies, and then the Earth guy ran through them, like shattering them before he slammed on the floor. So, now I was really excited for this game. I saw it when it was released. E3. I mean, not released, announced on E3, right? And I was really excited because it was made by the people who made Gears of War or worked on a Gears of War title, and we Sebastian and I are currently playing Gears of War 5, and we've been having a really good time. And because the world is it's still fleshed out, the character story is so good, the world is out there, the gunplay is really good, the mechanics are weak, sorry, it is, but everything else is really strong, and that's what really enticed me to like, okay, let me see what People Can Fly is putting together. But now from seeing it, it's such an interesting mishmash. Like, it looks like it's covered. I mean, Gears of War have always been doing cover, so I wouldn't really say it's similar to The Division, but yeah, there's cover base. There's a lot of menu systems that are very similar to like the menu system in Destiny, the loot, the abilities. It's so weird. It's just so weird. And after seeing so much footage, the look of it, like at first I was excited, like, okay, wow, this is looking really interesting. But as I keep watching it, like it just starts looking weird to me, I would say. Like the aesthetic is really off. I don't know if it's because we didn't see the beginning of the game to lead up to where you wake up again. Oh, sorry. Where you wake up again, and then because like when you wake up, you enter like this war zone. And my question is like, okay, why are we in a war zone, and why is it when we move on later we're no longer in a war zone? Like the threat is not like persistent, It was very strange. So obviously we'll have to see when they have another beta test to show more, or when the game fully comes out to really tie everything together. But little things.
Okay, 2 things before I even respond. First things first, I'm the realist. Second thing, I want to call you on your hate from another video before I even continue.
Okay.
When they originally announced this game back at E3, all they showed off was a trailer of some like random shots of the sky, and then we saw a fire monster or whatever, and then we saw the developers talk for a minute, and then they moved on. And now they have a big announcement, whatever, and they showed off everything. You were going off of the Video Game Awards saying, oh, all the trailers were just announcements of boom, 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 showing nothing, then the title and boom. But then some games, they had more in-depth stuff. You wanted everything to be in-depth. Like, that's how announcements work. That's exactly what Outriders did. They just had one little thing, and now they have something to show. Boom, boom, boom. You're wrong. I'm right. Okay. Continue. We're done with that conversation. Don't bring it back. Okay. So from
we're gonna fight about this after, because you're actually completely wrong.
Okay. Okay. I'll show
anyway.
I'll show I am.
So do you have anything to say to what I just said?
Yes, I'm going to. Anyways, I agree. I wasn't a fan of the aesthetic of the game. I don't like the graphics very much. I don't like just the way the game looked, personally. I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of some of the character designs, like that boss at the end who had the lightning abilities. Like he was a humanoid character, and he had like crystals coming out of him. And I know we're gonna be fighting non-humanoid characters, like just monsters and stuff. So maybe those will be more interesting to me. But the abilities, so we have the Trickster, we have the Power Mancer, and then we have like the tank-based guy. But even though, like, I don't know how I feel about games nowadays. It's like, oh, we have these like tank-like characters and like DPS-like characters, but you don't need those characters to succeed. You know, you don't need a tank. You can like if all three of you wanted to be the Power Man, so you'll be fine. And
You'll be fine.
it's like I like characters like just like we were talking about on the previous episode for Bleeding Edge. I like having to rely on it's like, oh, you know, like I like supporting my team, or like I like being the one. Like I like having a team instead of just the three of us doing whatever we want. We're just fighting alongside each other. You know. But the abilities, I don't know, like some of the abilities look cool. Like when the developer was talking about the lightning ability, he was saying all this stuff, but you know, you freeze time and you can just lightning whip because these are skeletons. Like he made it sound amazing, but like when you watch it in the game, it's like literally a second, and I'm like, I guess that is what you just said, but like it's not as nowhere near as exciting as you did.
Like the way that you made it sound.
Yeah, and like I'm watching some. I didn't get to see much of the earthbending guy. I saw a lot of the fire and the trickster guy. The teleporting, it seemed very crazy with the trickster
Particle
guy.
effects.
Yeah, it was just like what, and then like I like the dome that he made. Everyone's the bullets go slow. It's like Quantum Break, like you mentioned earlier. I did like that, but it's like I don't know, I need to see what more.
It's just weird.
Like. And they said like, oh, your abilities work on bosses, but they're just not as effective. You know, so it's like, oh, it's a Zag game, so my abilities are just great just for the ads. You know, and then when it comes to like the fire effect, I saw one like, you know, where you can like, you're kind of earthbending, but you're doing fire, like you're bringing fire from the ground and attacking. You know, and then
that firewall, it was the firewall that Sebastian talked about. It reminded me of that what's his name, Zhang in Avatar, when he was like in the sky and he like did a firewall to block the tanks. That's what it reminded me of.
I guess I don't know. It was weird. Like the move seemed very clunky to me. Like I heard I was watching the IGN stuff, and James Duggan said, you know, he was able to. The cover-based shooting wasn't essential. You could really run and gun if you needed to. Like he'd only use cover for a short period of time just to recover. But he would really just be running around and shooting. And I do like cover-based shooting, and I need to see how smooth their cover-based shooting is because you know, like in Gear, it's very clunky. It's like, oh god, I cannot move. I need to see theirs. I don't know. This game, when I first had the announcement trailer, the reveal, and I saw the abilities, I was like, yo, Earthbender guy, that's me. Oh, I did see one ability where he like made Earth all around him, so he made like an Earth armor, which I love. Like when Toph did that, I love this kind of stuff. I like encapsulating. Like I love elemental powers, and I love people do that. But I don't know, it's just like the game seems very clunky, and they kept referencing World War I or World War II, like the type of weapons they're going to be using. You know, so I'm like,
because
they're saying the weapons are going to be slow.
No, because like they're saying the setting is going to be very similar to that primitive quote unquote warfare, because since the anomaly storm thing, whatever it is,
destroyed all technology and all that.
Right, so they had to like revert to like this type of combat type of stuff. That's why they're referring like this gonna be like very World War One.
When I hear stuff like that, it makes me worry. The one, you know, as much as I love third-person games, I love them. The one like benefit first-person games have is when you have a first-person game, you know, you have to really worry about the design of the guns you have. You know, you can really make guns very distinct. Look at games like Destiny and Borderlands. The guns, like there's a lot of, you know, Destiny has a lot of the same guns, but like the exotics are very unique. And there's some really good legendary guns. And you know, with Borderlands, almost every gun is different. You know, so when you have a first-person game, you have that specialty uniqueness for your guns. And I think it was MTash who was talking about how the guns all shot the same, they all felt the same. You know, like. And also when I hear that they're going back to like World War I aesthetic, like, are we not gonna have any sort of like I'm sure they're gonna have legendary exotic guns, but like, what am I expecting for exotic guns? Because you know,
for what you'll be mostly getting,
exactly, like you know,
what's gonna be the real batch?
Exactly, like in Division, your exotic guns, you know, there's exotic guns, but it's just a gun at the end of the day,
right?
You know, like in Destiny, you have like lasers and all this stuff. You could shoot out grenades. Like there's a lot of crazy guns. Like you could do like gravity guns. You know, like there's a lot of really cool stuff. Or you could shoot out little minions, like little drones. But you know, Destiny is alien, and this is on an alien planet, so we're fighting alien creatures, and we have crazy abilities.
We will.
So I just want to know what kind of stuff. And since it's third person, developers don't really focus on that attention to detail for guns. Like look at Anthem. Anthem came out with all this crazy stuff, but like all their guns were basic as hell. It took them like 7 months to put like actual like interesting guns in the game. You know?
Who is that?
The guys, that
Who?
bias is trigger word. You know?
What are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
Never heard of that.
I wish I had a time machine to go back a year and a half from now when you were just sucking you were riding their dick so hard, bro. I love it.
What's a Bioware?
Guys, I've triggered him. In case you guys didn't know, Bios came from Bioware because he's such a big fanboy. But you know.
Okay, listen here. Whoa. No.
Okay. You can't hate it. You can't hate it. You can't hide it.
That's not where BIOS come from.
Okay.
That's not true.
Okay.
We'll get into the origin of BIOS later. But anyway, yeah. So they did say that there will be exotic special weapons. Like I think I can't. What's his name? I just can't say his name for the life of me.
Oh, Eric's.
I don't know why I can't say that. I just always think Arquez or whatever. But anyway, he made a video recently where he was showing like this weird woody looking curvy alien gun that shoots fire.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't really show it off because he was using it on a pyro character and there was something going on with the buffs. But he did show like one of those weapons, so we could be expecting stuff like that.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So yeah, we will be seeing interesting stuff. And then one of the developers were talking about when you go to destroy a monster, you can put the monster's head on your vehicle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the vehicles, what do you call it?
Segue
transition segue into whatever into vehicles. I because he said that you won't be able to drive the vehicle, but the vehicle will be your hub while you're traveling. What does that mean?
I think it'll be something similar to like a la Warframe, maybe. You know how like in Warframe you have your little your spaceship, you know, that you could go in, and technically when you want to select somewhere, you see the ship moving, but you don't have to drive it. You know, it's not like in the Division where you get to A to B. You know.
So I mean, I just hope because like for me, and I think it should be the same thing for all gamers, is that immersion is number one. When Warframe does that, it doesn't break my immersion, but I'm just not in it, you know? Yeah. I'm just like, okay, I'm flying loading screen type stuff.
You know, actually, I think that's what it means. There's going to be loading screens. But they're going to hide loading screens behind, like, the truck driving.
Traveling.
You know? But they didn't say it was open world, did they? I don't think they did.
It's not open world. What it is like, it's large zones that you have to capture, and then you could fast travel in between them.
Okay,
So I'm fine with that because it's something that Monster Hunter does. Like when you want to travel to another zone, you either have to fly there or you have to like cross a loading screen to get there. I'm fine with that. To me, that's fine. Like it doesn't have to be 100% open world as long as it's big and explorable. That's all I care about, really. But what just confuses me is when they talk about this stuff. It's like, okay, so let's say I restart the game and we finish this area. And we capture it, and when we cross the zone, will we cross, like go through loading screen and cross into the next section, or will we be thrown into a menu and we have to go back to our ship to actually cross into the next zone type of thing? So that's something that I'm curious to see. But for the vehicle, I would really like it if they make it so as I'm in the vehicle, it's moving. Like I could walk around my ship thing.
Oh, so you want the loading screen to be happening in the background while you're in the game.
While I'm in it. I don't want to see like the ship is
like the truck is driving.
You're right. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
That'll ruin it for me. I'm just gonna be like, okay, come on now. And I just want to make a comment. I forgot who mentioned it, but basically the running animation is super weird. We can all agree that the running animation is so weird and crazy.
Yeah, it's the
strangest thing.
It's a clunky.
It reminds me. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like be offensive, but this is just what I've seen. It reminds me so much of the running glitch in Mass Effect.
Oh.
It reminds me of that, and it's crazy to me that the running looks like that. Like it is. Like we all know, it's demo, it's beta, it's not ready, but I was hoping to see that it be like in Gears of War, like the running in Gears of War was so intense, and the camera gets close to you, and like you're running through like the trenches and everything like that. And someone made a comment that it was like, oh, I actually like it better that the way they done it because it's not as locomotive.
Not a fan.
What are you talking about? Oh, it's too locomotive. The Gears of War is too locomotive.
I guess by locomotive they mean like you don't really get to like control your run. Like when you're running, you run straight. Like you only run straight. You know. Whereas this
To cover the cover.
yeah, whenever you're running, like you run like solidly straight. You can't like dodge and weave. You can't like turn side to side. But Gears of War running is like you go straight ahead of you. You know.
I guess. I mean, it's just like I'm glad they showed it off, but like there's just so much that I feel is not ready. It's pretty long, I would say that, but just certain things like that I really hope they clean up really quickly. Um, Another stuff is for the as far as the immersion stuff that I've noticed is that uh like so there's like this hub area where like the humans are like hanging out. It's all like run down and everything, of course, because they're struggling. The struggle is real.
Yep.
There's this, so you have a mission where you have to go like get this guy in another part of the city or wherever you are. And as you're heading there, you start seeing these people that are part of that sector, and they're like messing with this guy, like acting like they're gonna drop him and everything. Like there's like this big stairway, and they're acting like they're gonna drop him. If you sit there for a while, they just keep doing that same animation, like, "Oh, we're gonna drop you. We're gonna drop you." He's like stuck in that for eternity.
Yeah.
Just drop him.
Just drop them.
Just drop him. Like take it to the next step. Like as you like the moment you walk through, it should already be animated for that guy to be dropped, and then we never see that again. So that way, if you do that mission to get with somebody else, they experience it and they'd be like, "Oh, remember when they dropped that guy?" And then there's also like this other sector. These are like little nitpicks. This other part in the hub where these two guys are like going into a fist fight, but they just keep walking around in circles like, "Punch me first, bro, punch me first." It's like nothing happens. Make it immersive. Go for it. The game is supposed to finish and end. Take it there. Don't be afraid.
I have a question. So we have the three classes. Is this kind of game where when you pick a class, that's a class you stick with, or can you go throughout the story with whatever class you want? And is there character customization?
There is character customization, yeah.
And can I just pick any class whenever I want, or is it like that's the class you have unless you make a new character?
That's the class you have unless you make a new character,
Okay.
from what I've seen.
Okay.
So I mean, it makes sense because like
Yeah.
the way that the story is, I don't think you can just change your abilities. But yeah, it is locked, but there is character customization. Now, from the demo, it was all presets. They can kind of like pick a beard and pick like stuff in that. We don't know how in depth they're gonna make it for the full release, and it better be in depth. It better be fully customizable because I love my character customization. I like to be special, so
and you
bring
like
it
to be a woman.
It depends on how the men look. So I'm sorry, there's just video games that make men look so ugly. And as someone who has dreads in video games look so bad. Like, why? It shouldn't be that hard.
Okay.
So, sorry, just putting it out there. Just like Eric's gaming, like he's bald and he has a beard. He always saying, "Oh, how come I can't pick a beard or pick a bald guy?" It's the same thing. Give us the options. What else?
To the last class, if you want to talk about the looter shooter, like the co-op, better if you want to go into
that. Yeah. So, yeah, this whole concept of it being a game that you buy and you play through it once, you reach the end, you can still play with your friends, you can still do the whole loot and get gun grind, but the point is that the game will end instead of it being a live service game that you have to get in every day or every week to get the good stuff and yada yada. Is this better than that? Because technically, besides its development, there's no downsides. There's no like crazy balance things that they have to do. You actually have a good story that's fleshed out. Usually the world is fleshed out in these type of things. And you're getting a full product, that you're not constantly paying for and stuff like that. So is this a good step for looter shooters to go as far as, and also still keeping it multiplayer with the drop in, drop out system?
Okay, first, I don't really understand this question because those are two different things. It's like saying, are apples better than oranges? They're two different fruits. You know, you get two different flavors from them. Um, when you're talking about the balance, people did talk about that a lot, but they're talking about balance in the fact that there's no PvP, so they can make the game, they can make the weapons as strong as they want. You know, like something like your old favorite game used to be Anthem. You used to cry about no PvP all the time, so they can balance the game however they like because they don't have to worry about PvP. That's where balance is important. Um, but again, I think it's two different things. Like, sure, games like The Division 2, when it first launched, when we played it like a month and a half after it came out. That was a full product game. We got like a 40-hour story just in the base game, and of course, then there was the end game. And that's a live service. Looter shooter live service games can be complete. It's just the developers have been slacking, like games like Sea of Thieves and Destiny, have just been
Right.
not being, or like Anthem, they even haven't been able to like actually fulfill their
Who?
promises. You know, Bioware, you forgot? Okay,
Who is that?
Bios, you forgot about
Hmm.
Bioware, where you got your inspiration from? Don't forget.
Never heard of her.
What's it called? Those
But
companies just
because
haven't
of
been able to
that,
fulfill. And I personally, I don't have a problem with like games like Destiny, where it's like I beat the game, but like now I have more stuff to do. Like I like being into that world and going into it, getting more stuff like every week and having like Xur. Like, I like going back to it. Games like Anthem, no, sorry, not Anthem, Assassin's Creed or Dragon Ball. I played like 70 hours of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And like, sure, there's the only thing I have left to do are like the trainings, which are just redundant, and then like the old side missions that I missed, but I can't access the side missions because I'm not home. I mean, sorry, not home. I mean, I don't have the time machine to do the side missions. Um, so it's like I don't have a need to go back to Dragon Ball. So that's how I feel about this game. Once I beat it, will I have a need to go back to that game because I beat it? And
from what they're
sure,
saying,
but they
from
haven't
what they're
said
saying,
specifically is there going to be, at least in the IGN video, the James Duggan, he specifically asked him what's Endgame content going to look like. They didn't say anything about Endgame. They didn't say anything about there being strikes or raids or like even if there is, or we're just replaying the story missions
no,
on a harder difficulty.
they, well, yeah, they said there is endgame. They just didn't say what the end game is gonna be. Now, as far as the replayability of the game, we just gotta.
Okay, I just want to put a little something on your face. I don't know what the correct word would be. I want you to remember a year ago from now, from previous, when Anthem was talking about their end game, you kept going, they're gonna have aspirational content. Aspirational content. Remember when you were singing that song? And then when it came time for aspirational content, they had nothing. They had nothing. So developers, they're 10 months out, but it's like, what do people do when they beat your game? Do they leave your game, or are you gonna have something new for us? They can't
That's
answer
what
that.
I keep saying. We don't know what it is, and it was the same thing for Anthem. We did not know what it was when they were discussing the aspirational content. They were saying that they're going to be taking inspiration from the typical end game raid
Sure,
like
sure,
stuff,
but I will
but for
say
people can fly.
until they announce what their end game is, they don't have an end game, and their game is gonna not die, but like their game is finished once you beat it. That's how I see it. But Anthem was singing that same song, saying, "Oh,
That's fine.
when they're, we have aspirational content for you. We're gonna have something for you to do after the game." They did it. They did it. And to me, it's like, okay, cool. I'll play your game for 20 hours with my friends, upgrade my abilities, and then I'll move on if I even get the game because the game looks whatever to me.
No, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'm not knocking you for that or saying that that's not whatever. Like, do you? I'm just repeating what has been said. They say that there is going to be endgame. We don't know what it is yet. And as far as the replayability, they still have really yet to discuss what that is. Now, there was something I was going to say that was been quoted from them. Ah, I don't know. It was something that they said. But oh, sorry. So let's go on and let's talk about like the hype that's been around this game. Is the hype justified? Like, even though it's been, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, so even though it's been announced and all that stuff, and like I said, I do like the way it was announced, and the footage came out really quickly right after, and hopefully we'll see more in these upcoming months into release. Do you think that the hype that everyone is talking about the game is justified? Do you think that they are right? Because these people went out, they flew, they played it for 3 hours. That was as long the demo was, and they left and came back and they gave their
And
thoughts. Now, as
I just want to make a shout out to the people that came out there and they weren't paid for this
that
event.
wasn't this.
Yeah.
That was not.
Oh, sorry.
This.
But still,
That
even
was
then,
not this.
Even then, I'm sorry for those people that weren't paid. Even if it wasn't this, I'm still sorry for those people.
That wasn't this.
I don't care.
Why are you
I don't
bringing
care.
this up?
I'm still sad for those people that weren't paid because I'm sure not everybody was paid, and I'm sorry for them. Okay, I'm sorry they gave you a free hotel and they let you play the game, but I'm sorry. If you weren't paid, I'm sorry up front. Okay? Okay. I want to say, I don't know. I don't think there was very much hype personally on my YouTube.
No. Not hype. But I'm talking about like the YouTubers that are out there saying this game is good and it's this and that.
Yeah, I'm answering.
That they're putting out for the game.
From what I saw, personally, I didn't see much hype on my YouTube. I saw it was only that one day. I think it was the Thursday when they announced it. I saw content being announced that Thursday, and that was it. Right? I didn't see the rest of my YouTube feed wasn't like Outriders. Like when the Division came out, Division 2, I've been seeing Division 2 news nonstop. But Outriders came and they left. Like I don't know. And from the few people that I did see, like I don't know, like MTash, he wasn't the biggest fan of it. And James Duggan, they said it's cool. But they were like, oh, like it doesn't have its problems 10 months out. Like, I don't think there was much hype personally. And I wasn't feeling the game. I wasn't like in love with it. Like of course, when Anthem was first announced, that had hype. There was mad hype on that game. Even Destiny, when that game was out, was mad hype. This game, I feel like Borderlands had more hype when it came out. I don't know, like I wasn't getting a lot of hype. I don't think people are. Maybe I don't know what Eric's is saying or other people are saying. Oh my God, it's the next best game. But like, I'm sorry, but a live service game, even though they have their downsides, they do attract more people, in my opinion, like me. And I don't know, this game is just really middle of the pack for me. We'll see if I even get it. We'll see what the fourth class is and how in depth the game truly is.
For me, to really be interested in it, because I am interested, but to actually to keep this game on my radar, because that's another thing. I want to get to that in a second. But to keep this game on my radar, I really want to see their version of the not open world, but the large maps and what we will be seeing in as far as exploring. Because they do say you will be able to explore. So
look at Gears of War. Look at Gears of War. That had large maps,
Right, but this isn't Gears of War.
Sure. But if we were to compare it to that of like, Gears of War is not an open world game, but it had its large maps, its larger zones. So would you want it to be on that size or bigger?
Bigger is always better.
I don't know.
Bigger is always better. Like, make it big. Like, make sure that the players spend some good time before they really reach the end, the finale of the game. But back to my side note, as far as keeping this game on my radar, this game is coming out the same month as Cyberpunk.
It comes out in September?
September.
Oh, well. 2 games is not bad.
And out. Okay. All right. The podcast, this episode is over. Thank you guys for watching.
Oh God. I don't know. We'll see. This game could change my mind if we see more stuff. Since they showed off a lot today, when E3 rolls around, they'll be positioned to even show off way more stuff at E3. Maybe like another 2 missions, way more character RPG stuff will be showing off. We'll see. Is it coming to next gen? And if it and since it is, what are the benefits of getting it on next gen? Like I want to. That's the conversation I'm interested in about games now. The game is coming out in the next 10 months or next year. I need to know what next gen is coming out this year. What's the whole process? What's different about your game at next gen?
Right.
So that's what I'm interested in. I want to see what it's gonna look like on next gen.
All right. So I think we hit everything. You're good?
Yeah, I'm good. This game's I don't. Everything for me was maybe like a 5 out of 10. For me,
5, yeah, 5. I would say it's a 5. Yeah, as far as what they showed so far, we'll see it once that improves over time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, that's this episode of Get Your Game Sense Up, talking about Outriders. Let us know your thoughts about the game in the comments below. So now the podcast is also available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and
Yeah, that's it. And
that's it.
YouTube, technically, YouTube.
Well, yeah, YouTube. All the links will be in the description, so be sure to check that out there. If you guys don't care about watching a video, if you guys want to listen to us on the go, we're now widely available now. So see you guys in those platforms. And always remember,
get your game sense up.
To each other's arms.